Since the very dawn of human civilization, every single society, every culture out there has told stories. We inherit them. Every kid grows up believing in these narratives. It's not just a way to kill time or be entertained. It's literally the foundational bedrock of how we make sense of our world and, honestly, ourselves.
And that brings us to a really profound truth. Every nation is ultimately remembered by the stories it tells about itself. Now think about India for a second. We've absolutely never had a shortage of incredible storytellers or boundless imagination. But here is the jarring realization we have to face today. With all of this immense creative wealth at our fingertips, why is the industry struggling to create lasting emotional impact? Why are so many films just missing the mark when it comes to really capturing our hearts?
Well, think about it like this. When companies struggle, they reinvent themselves. When governments struggle, they reform. So what exactly happens when a massive film industry completely loses its compass? It's a pretty provocative question. But the crucial takeaway here is that we have to stop trying to just patch up individual films. We need to look much higher. We have to figure out how an entire industry can literally redesign the massive, complex system that creates these films in the first place.
And honestly, this lost compass has led to what we really have to call a crisis. Over the last 3 decades or so, something super subtle but incredibly damaging started happening. Story just slowly drifted away from the center of the filmmaking process. Think about it. Marketing got way louder. The spectacle got so much bigger. Stars practically became these massive corporate brands. And obviously, the technology became absolutely extraordinary. But amidst all of that noise and flash, true emotional resonance, it became totally inconsistent.
Now, I want to make something absolutely crystal clear here. This is not a criticism of the filmmakers themselves, not at all. It is a systemic failure. As the saying goes, we have extraordinary talent, we have an outdated operating system. Just take a moment and really let that sink in. It's not the people, it is the actual machine they are forced to operate within. But, within every massive systemic failure lies an even bigger opportunity. Every huge transformation starts with just one singular forward-looking decision. It's all about choosing the specific future we actually want to build. We're calling this future Indian Filmmaking 2.0. And to actually get there, we have to completely change the questions we are asking ourselves as an industry.
For example, we really shouldn't be sitting around asking, what should we stop doing? Instead, the question has to be, what future are we building? And let me be super definitive about this. That future is not about being more commercial, it's not about being more artistic, and it is certainly not about being more expensive. The future of Indian cinema is about being fundamentally more human. Yes, it'll be supported by a massive national infrastructure and augmented by artificial intelligence, but right at its core, it has to be relentlessly human.
To navigate our way there, we absolutely need a compass. And our North Star has to be this: story at the center, always. You see, every great transformation has to begin with purpose, because without a clear purpose and a really unifying vision, any industry strategy just devolves into white noise. Our mission here in this explainer is to show how to mobilize and empower the industry to create meaningful stories that resonate locally but connect globally. The story has to dictate literally every single creative and business decision.
So how do we actually measure that? Well, we are introducing objective, architectural pillars to completely replace those highly subjective, outdated ways we used to measure cinematic excellence. A true story-first approach relies on 6 interlocking structural requirements. Put them together, and they form a completely new, rigorous standard for the whole industry. Let's break these down a bit. Instead of just blindly following algorithmic trends or chasing box office numbers, we need stories that are deeply grounded in internal logic. Basically,
they have to be believable. They also need to earn our investment by being emotionally engaging, as well as intellectually compelling. On top of that, these stories have to be relevant to the current cultural zeitgeist and meaningful enough to actually leave an impact that lasts way beyond just 2 hours of entertainment. And finally, they need to be globally resonant. They should be universal enough to easily cross borders, while still keeping our unique cultural specificity. We simply have to choose truth and meaning over a fleeting opening weekend collection.
Now, these pillars don't just exist in a vacuum. They actually build into an engine of transformation. Every industry out there needs one core organizing principle. Think about aviation. It's safety. For healthcare, it's patient care. For filmmaking, it absolutely has to be story. When story first is the center of gravity, it sets off this amazing continuous cycle. It creates better stories, which lead to better films, resulting in better impact, which ultimately builds a better industry. Every single thing serves the story, not the other way around.
But look, an engine needs parts to run, right? And that brings us to the ecosystem cascade. This whole transformation requires 4 distinct layers of stakeholders working together. Right at the top, we have industry leadership. They're the ones steering the ship, shaping the vision, and knocking down barriers. Right below them are the story-first change agents. These are the mentors, the producers, the people who actually drive the transformation by spreading the movement from person to person, not just handing down policies.
Moving down, we have the practitioner layer. We're talking the actors, the editors, the cinematographers, and the sound designers. They are the folks who actually implement the transformation on the ground. Practitioners drive the real culture change, one single creative decision at a time while they are on set. If they are embedding that story-first mentality into every single choice they make, the overall quality of the cinema just fundamentally elevates.
But that leaves one final crucial layer in this architectural master plan. And I really want you to think about this for a second. Who ultimately decides whether this entire story-first movement actually succeeds? Who is holding the real power here? It's you, the audience. It's not the government, and it's certainly not the massive studios. It's every single ticket you buy, every stream you click play on, every recommendation you make to a friend, and every conversation you have walking out of the theater. You see, audiences don't just passively consume culture, they actively reinforce it. You are the ultimate stakeholder that keeps the entire ecosystem honest and demand-driven. So the really crucial thing to understand here is that while inspiration and audiences might start a movement, it is systemic architecture that actually sustains it. To pull this framework off at a massive scale, we have to rely on 7 structural enablers. We're talking about building from the ground up, from strategy and roadmap, right through governance, capability building, adoption, performance, technology, and continuous evolution. Brought all together, these aren't just a bunch of separate initiatives. They form one singular, robust operating system for the entire industry.
But hey, we always have to remember this universal law of business and industry transformation. Organizations themselves do not transform, people do. Whether we're talking about some giant corporate entity or the incredibly vibrant Indian film industry, individuals are the ones who have to be guided through the transition. And to do that, we use the AID-CAR model. It's a proven framework for behavioral change that tracks 5 distinct pathways: creative, leadership, culture, technology, and audience.
So how does this play out in the real world? Well, it happens in 5 steps. First off, we build awareness of why we even need a story-first approach. Second, we generate the desire for people to jump in and support it. Third, we ensure they actually have the knowledge of how to make the change happen. Fourth, we help them develop the ability to execute those new skills.
And finally, we provide reinforcement to make sure the new paradigm sticks. Because let's be real, technology alone doesn't change behavior. Throwing training at people doesn't do it either. Behavior only changes when people truly believe they belong to something genuinely worth building.
And when we manage to bring all of this together, we get a complete ecosystem circuit running in full motion. Think about it. A stakeholder takes an action, they use an architectural enabler, they're guided by the ADKR timeline, and it's all for one singular laser-focused reason: to ensure story remains right at the center, always. It really is a perfectly integrated closed-loop operating system, custom designed to transform a massive creative industry from the inside out.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want us to take a step back and look at the much, much longer view. Just imagine for a moment, we're looking ahead a full century, 100 years from now. People aren't going to remember how many films we produced this year. They're definitely not going to remember our opening weekend box office collections, and they certainly won't remember the flashy marketing campaigns.
What they will remember are the stories we chose to tell. Because at the end of the day, stories outlive technologies. They outlive massive stars. They outlive entire industries, honestly. Stories are the things that actually shape civilizations. So our collective destination, Indian Filmmaking 2.0, is a future where we create stories that deeply move hearts, earn global respect, and sustain a thriving industry that actually respects its creators.
If India is truly going to take its rightful place as a global storytelling powerhouse, that transformation is not going to begin with larger budgets or fancier visual effects. It begins the exact moment we collectively decide to put story back at the center. One movement, one mission, one industry, one future. So I'll leave you with this. What story do you want us to be remembered by?